I'd like to call the Macomb City Council to order, please. If you'd please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Council. We were deeply saddened to learn of the passing last Friday morning of the Reverend Dr. C.T. Vivian. The Reverend Dr. Vivian was distinguished and distinguished himself by being a lifelong, passionate advocate for racial and social justice, an icon in the American Civil Rights Movement, and a force for social change, not only in the United States, but around the world. The world has lost a giant voice and a determined laborer for racial equality. The Macomb community has long thought of and felt that Dr. Vivian was a native son, and with that, the Reverend Dr. Vivian came to Macomb with his family as a small boy, but left as a strong, determined man, having spent his formative years here in Macomb, attending Lincoln Grade School, graduating from Macomb High School, and attending Western Illinois University. I had the opportunity yesterday morning to speak with Dr. Vivian's family as they were gathered in Atlanta and express to them the community's sincere condolences on the passing of him and extending our gratitude to them for sharing him with us all these years. With that, I'd like to call for a moment of silence in memory of Reverend Dr. C.T. Vivian. Thank you. If the clerk would call the roll, please.
Mike Wayland.
Here.
John Vajezi.
Here.
Annette Carper.
Here.
Tom Cook. Gail Carper. Tammy Lee Brown Edwards.
Here.
Dennis Moon.
Here.
5 present.
We have a quorum. Thank you. I'd like to ask you for your consideration as we ask for some very special guests to join us here tonight for our council meeting as we get ready to make a proclamation. Come on in. All right. It's good to see you all today. Now, if you turn the other way, that camera up there will get to see how beautiful and wonderful you are. All righty. Council, I'd like you to take a moment and allow me to issue the following proclamation. It says, whereas We Care Daycare Center has served Macomb and McDonough County since 1972, and whereas the We Care Center is a high quality, nonprofit daycare that provides loving care to 36 children ages 2 through 6 from diverse economic backgrounds and offers income-based fee options. And whereas the center is licensed by the Illinois Department of Children and Family Service, sponsored by the Illinois State Board of Education, and is a member of the National Association for the Education of Young Children. And whereas the We Care Center received the Accelerate Illinois Award in recognition of meeting criteria for quality care and education for young children. And whereas on June 18th, the center suffered tremendous loss in a fire at the center and needs the community's support to reopen as quickly as possible. And whereas monetary donations are needed to purchase new educational toys, learning materials, art supplies, books, and furniture. Now, therefore, I, Michael J. Inman, Mayor of the City of Macomb, Illinois, do hereby proclaim the month of July, the whole month, as We Care Daycare Center Month, and I encourage all community members to recognize the importance of quality, affordable daycare in our community and consider making a donation to the We Care Center to assist in their reopening. Now, we have some, amongst these very distinguished guests here and here, we have some adult guests with us as well. We have Tracy Bollinger, who is the director of the We Care Center. We have Miss Jean Wolf-Makestead, who is the president of the board that oversees this. And then we have some other folks. Jean, Tracy would invite you to come up and say a few words, if you would, please.
Are you going to say something? It's an honor to be recognized by the City Council and by the Mayor for the month of July, and we are hoping that We Care Center will be up and running as soon as possible in a temporary location. It'll probably be 6 to 8 months before the site is completely renovated. But we have been overwhelmed so far by the outpouring of the community in terms of monetary donations and books and others. To that end, we will have, on Friday, July 1st, we will have a We Care event on South Randolph Street. And then again, we will have another event in September 12th that will help raise the money. We Care means a lot to a lot of people in this town of Macomb. And Tracy just told me today that one of the teachers has worked there 3 years. She went there as a child. Her children went there, and now she's employed there. So there's just a long history of good feelings. And if you talk to anybody, they might say, oh yeah, my child went there, or my grandchild. So we're really honored for We Care to be recognized today. Thank you. You gonna say something? So thank you.
Tracy, now it's my understanding that it's hard to believe this, but you've been with the facility for 32 years, is that right? Yep. I think that's pretty awesome right then and there. So, Mr. Coker, could we borrow your photographic skills? Please. And you tell us which would be best, and I'll don my mask here. Okay, very good. Well, you're welcome. We'll pass those out right now.
You want to all light up here? Scoot on down this way a little bit. Good. Yeah.
Can I give this one? We go.
Everybody smiling? All right. There we go. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Council members will be handing out these flyers that tell a little bit more about the daycare operation and their needs as they get fired back up. So we'll pass these out.
Thank you all very much.
Bye. Bye. You're welcome.
Thank you. All right, and very well-deserved opportunity there to recognize a great organization. Next, council, I'd like to call a public hearing to consider a liquor license application submitted by Dan Kokel, doing business as a Chicago Beef Factory, for a Class R liquor license for the property located at 202 West Carroll Street. So Mr. Kokel has joined us. Mr. Kokel, if you'd like to step up to the podium, we'd like to hear what you have in mind and tell us a little bit about your plan.
Good evening. My name is Dan Kokel. I am the owner of Chicago Beef Factory, 202 West Carroll. And as your mayor informed me, it was a piano store when he was a kid. So I do own the building now. Excuse me. I'll give you a little background there. We opened in November. We had a really good November, good December, and traditionally restaurants are always slow in January and February, and we did very well. Unfortunately, March came and we were doing well, and then March 16th came and the COVID thing hit. It was, I think, the day before March 17th, the St. Patty's Day, because I remember. But we did close down on behalf of the governor and all the rules and laws, and the way we were just getting our our delivery system in place. We had hired a couple delivery drivers, and it was working out. We were kind of getting the bugs out of that. So that we had to put a stop to it. And then we could have opened for carryout, but we just weren't established enough yet for that. So we decided to ride this out, and we are going to open probably in the next couple of weeks as more and more people come back to town for school starting, because a lot of employees leave town as well. So kind of getting organized for that. One thing we learned when we were, serving, I was there a lot myself, is people asked us if we had beer or a drink with their sandwich and things like that. So what a better time during this COVID thing to get a bunch of paperwork done. I thank the clerk and the city attorney and all those. We went back and forth several times with some things, and we were able to get most of it knocked out very quickly. The insurance is all in line, everything's in line. It's just a matter of going through this process. So I'm here for any questions. It's pretty basic stuff, what I'm asking for.
Thank you, Mr. Copeland. Anyone have any questions for Mr. Copeland? Alderman Vajezi.
I actually have 3 questions for you. The first one might be better answered by the city attorney. As I looked at the factors of issuance for this license, one of the things that popped out at me was that across the street from you have a church, and according to section 4-55 of the site approval, that you're within 100 feet of the church, and actually your building's 75 feet. Maybe the city attorney can address that as far as the distance from.
That is correct. We had it measured this morning. It is 75 feet. However, that section also says that it's not applicable when it's a quote-unquote food shop. And so with the Class R, the primary purpose would be the sale of food. He has to have 60% at least non-alcoholic sales. So with that kind of parameter, we would be okay with that distance.
Okay, thank you. And then the second question I have for you is just looking at the financial responsibility. I see that currently you have 3 loans with the city, and that unfortunately...
3 loans with the city?
403 East Washington, 301 South Johnson, or 3 properties, I should say, and 225 West Jefferson. But
There's only 1 loan, sir, but we are with the, I gave collateral for all of them. I just gave you the properties.
Okay.
They were paid for.
So is everything up to date on those as far as the property taxes?
Yes.
All those? Okay.
Yes.
Because that was just a little worrisome on
And
that.
just a little bit on number 1, I did, on your first question, I did call the state of Illinois, and I worked with them on that question because it was a big concern of mine too with the church. And right now I know we call it a church, but it's not considered a church. It's considered an empty building because it's not leased, or there's not a, like Presbyterian or a Catholic, there's not a predominant, and the word has slipped my mind right now, but right now it's just considered a building. But just to let you know, I did do the research on that.
Okay. And then the third question I have is just, the city attorney mentioned earlier about 60%. Currently, how many tables do you have in the establishment?
Oh, not being open the last couple of months, I'm trying to think. We have about, our seating capacity is 40.
Okay.
So we have about 10, 12 tables. So if that, I could count them here if you want to think. But I have a bar on the front where, they can sit. And then we have probably about 8 tables in there.
Okay. And you feel confident that you'll be able to do 60% non-alcoholic?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, that's all I have.
Alderman Brown Edwards.
Could you tell me if you plan on doing delivery? I know under COVID that's allowed. Will you plan on be doing alcohol delivery or package sales, or is that only to be consumed inside of your restaurant?
To the best of my knowledge, I haven't looked into it with the city of Macomb because we're not open, but I think you have to drink the alcohol inside the establishment or on the, grounds of the establishment.
Okay, could you speak to that, city attorney?
Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Mayor, but I think we did a temporary order currently in place that would allow beverages to be consumed off premises, but that's temporary only.
Correct.
So once that is done, once we pull that back, presumably we'll move into phase 5 or some other non-restricted in-house dining, so to speak, that would get pulled back. So the permanent license would be for on-site consumption.
Okay.
Does that answer the question?
But the temporary order does allow for delivery as well as carry out for
Correct,
alcohol?
with
Okay.
some very specific restrictions to make sure that those receiving are of age.
Yes. Okay, all right. So I'll go back to you, Mr. Coco. Is that part of your plan to utilize that temporary order? Because
At
you
this
said that your
point-
delivery is picking up, so I imagine if people were
Well,
ordering, they would
We're
totally
actually
order.
starting from ground zero again on our deliveries.
Mm-hmm.
So that wasn't, I haven't even thought about that delivering alcohol. I want to get through the license. I'm not real concerned about delivering alcohol. I don't think we're going to do that because I'm sure there's a whole rash of, you got to have somebody at least 21, driving the delivery vehicles and everything else. So I haven't put that program to thought yet.
Okay, thank
But
you.
when it comes, I guess if, depends how long this COVID thing goes, if that's a option for us or not. But I would definitely, before I did it, I do all my research, I would meet with the city or, read their ordinances. I know they have something going where they deliver alcohol, but I really can't tell you the details of it. But before we did it, I would definitely meet with somebody over here to find that out. But that's not really my intention.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Majewski.
I do have one more question. You mentioned that you have, you're essentially starting from scratch again. Do you have an on-site manager that will be responsible for, whether it be deliveries, those type of things, making sure the alcohol is not served to minors?
Yes, matter of fact, in the application that I gave the mayor's office, I had to put my alcohol manager there, and they did a background check. I assume they already did it on myself and this potential alcohol manager. So there'll be, there'll probably going to be a restaurant manager and then, a restaurant manager / she or he is in charge of alcohol. And the background check and everything has been submitted, or the information has been submitted for a background check. And I don't know if they did that or not, but I assume they did because it was like a month ago or so I gave it to them.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Alderman Moon.
What are your hours for serving alcohol going to be?
When we filled out the liquor license, we did, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Miss Attorney, but I think it's X number of dollars more, you can serve on Sunday early, and so we're gonna, whatever the alcohol license is that's what we're gonna do for our serving alcohol. If it cuts off at midnight or 1 a.m., and I don't have that in front of me at the moment, but we're gonna run with the license. If the license says we can run till midnight on Sunday night, we're gonna run till midnight on Sunday. I think it's 11, but I'm not sure. Whatever the license says is what we're gonna run with alcohol.
Do you have a business plan for this operation that is now going to include alcohol? 'Cause it doesn't sound like you're very well prepared for alcohol.
Doing alcohol, I have an alcohol manager lined up, and we're gonna add that as an option, as a drink option.
Anything else? Alderman Moon?
No.
Okay, Alderman Brown Edwards.
Could you tell me what your hours of operation are?
Right now,
Yes, and how you planning on, I guess my question, you're not sure when you will be ending selling alcohol, but do you know when you will begin selling alcohol?
I believe the license is 9 a.m. in the morning. I believe.
And so your
But we
intention
don't
is,
open the restaurant till 11.
okay. So it'll be available 11 till,
Probably
11 to 11
We were
possibly.
running the restaurant from 11 to 11 with some late night hours. We did get those in there, but we opened on purpose on Thanksgiving or right before Thanksgiving because then, we didn't have a lot of, we kind of got the bugs out of everything. And then they came back for a couple weeks and then Christmas break. So, but our hours are actually like 11 a.m. to like 2:30 a.m. I stayed up till 4, stayed open until 4 a couple nights. I was there serving food, breakfast.
but you're thinking that you're just going to sell alcohol from 11 to 11 possibly, whatever that end
Whatever the
time
liquor,
is?
if the liquor license says 1 a.m., we'll sell it till 1 a.m.
Okay, thank you.
But we're not going to exceed the 60/40 that the mayor informed me in our meeting that they're going to check, and they're going to check on that, I think, monthly or yearly.
Okay, thank
So,
you.
make sure. But we do have a plan. It's just, it's with the COVID thing, it's just kind of, we got to feel things out, We're not going to put good money after bad and stay open and have no customers.
Alderman Carver?
Simple question, I think, for you, Mr. Mayor.
Sure.
I'm sorry, I didn't do my research. Would you remind me what a Class R liquor license is?
Sure. That's a restaurant license where the primary function of the business is to sell food. And under those parameters, no more than 60% of the gross sales, no more than 40% of the gross sales can come from alcohol sales. So it's a 60-40 split.
Are those alcohol sales limited to beer and wine, or is it a full
Nope,
bar?
it encompasses all spirits, wine, beer.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
thank you. Alderman Vajezzi.
Are you going to be looking to sell more than just beer, or are you doing alcohol also?
We're going to kind of see where the demand is at, but probably beer and wine for sure, and then some of your basic harder ones like, UV vodka and Tito's, a couple popular ones maybe. But I'm not a big elk drinker, so I have to, go out and see what's popular and stuff like that. So.
Alderman Brown Edwards.
That brings up another question. So you're planning on pouring alcohol, or these are just per
Yeah,
bottle
we're gonna
type
make-
things?
We're going to make drinks.
Okay,
for you
all
if you
right.
want one.
Okay, thank you.
So, yeah, they'll be DRAM certified and everything. There'll be a regular person in there that's a bartender.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else from the council? All right, anyone from the public? Anything else, Mr. Kokel?
No?
Okay, all right. We'll consider the public hearing closed then. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Alderman, before you is a consent agenda, and a motion is in order.
Move to adopt as published.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt the consent agenda as published. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Wayland.
Aye.
Vajezzi.
Aye.
A. Carper.
Aye.
Brown Edwards.
Aye.
Moon.
Aye.
All ayes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Does anyone wish to speak to the council under the public comments section of tonight's agenda? Okay, no one in the audience. I know we have some written comments, Madam Clerk.
Yes, I have 3. On behalf of the Democratic Women of McDonough County, I'd like to thank Alderwoman Tammy Lee Brown Edwards for attending and speaking at our Black Lives Matter pop-up event and Speak Out. We'd also like to thank Belinda Carr, Chair of the McDonough County Democratic Central Committee, for attending and speaking, as well as Dr. Essie Rutledge and all those who spoke out at the event. We especially encourage all members of the City Council to watch the videos of the speeches available on our website at www.democratic-women.org/2020/07/20/Justice for Ariel Harrison. We ask the City Council members and City Hall staff to please investigate the Macomb Police Department's arrest and handling of Ariel Harrison's and Kiana Miller's cases immediately, as they have court dates coming up and we believe they have been wrongfully prosecuted. They and the many other Black community members with complaints against Macomb police officers have good cause for not putting their complaints about police misconduct through the formal process with the Macomb Police Department out of fear of retaliation and further trauma. We urge the City Council members to demand answers from the Macomb Police Department and Chief Barker about these cases. At this time, we reiterate our call for Chief Barker to step down or be removed. The petition to this effect is approaching 11.4 thousand signatures. Heather McMeekin, President, Democratic Women of McDonough County. Dear Mayor Inman and City Council, you need to investigate your police department in regards to complaints about police brutality and trumped-up charges. I heard Ariel Harrison speak about her situation last week, and I am appalled that this happened in our community. Take seriously the complaints against Chief Barker and some of his subordinates. Joanne Jones Curtis, Emmett Township. I'm hoping to be in the Macomb city limits soon. Good afternoon. I asked the mayor and city council to investigate the facts surrounding MPD's arrest of Ariel Harrison and Kiana Miller. Because both cases allege serious police misconduct against them, it is reasonable for them to not trust the formal complaint process through the Macomb Police Department. Please contact the Illinois Attorney General and ask them about the status of those investigations. Thank you, Emiliano Vera, McDonough County resident. That's all I have.
Thank you. Ms. Scalf, did you have anything you wanted to add?
I would indicate that it would be my recommendation not to make any comment regarding any pending legal cases. It is not, I don't think it's in the city's best interest to do so, as it could potentially, regardless of the results of any investigation, be alleged to have tainted any type of jury pool. So it would be my recommendation that we make no comment at this time regarding those two cases.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak into the public comment section of tonight's agenda? Alrighty, hearing none, thank you. Under unfinished business, item number 1, consideration to approve a CDAP revolving loan application for Mark Lovell, doing business as Dad's Garage at 833 North Lafayette Street in the amount of $25,000 at 3% interest for 3 years. This was discussed at last Monday's Committee of the Whole, and we'd entertain a motion to approve the application.
Make a motion to approve the CDAP revolving loan application for Mr. Mark Lovell.
Second.
It's moved and seconded to approve the loan. Any discussion? Would note that Mr. Lovell is here. You're welcome. You're not required to speak? Nope, just would note that he's here. He's present. He is here. All righty, hearing no further discussion, roll call, please.
Vajezzi,
Aye.
A. Carper,
Aye.
Brown Edwards,
Aye.
Moon,
Aye.
Wayland,
Aye.
all ayes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Item number 2, consideration to award the bid for the Northwest Water Main Replacement Phase 2 project to Central Subsurface in the amount of $502,481. And it's a memorandum in your packet from the Public Works Director, Ms. Ortman. Scott, could you go over that for us, please?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm not Alice. Alice is on vacation this week, so she gets some good needed time off. So the memo in here talks through what we have going on. So we have Phase 2. If you remember, a few months ago, we put out for bid, and the bids came in extremely high, about 50% over. So we reduced the scope and put it out for rebid. And so the results of that for Phase 2, it's in the northwest quadrant, came in at $502,000, which is a little less than the engineer's estimate. So we're recommending that we proceed with that bid. And the goal, if the council approves it, that they would start sometime in September with that work. And we have the money budgeted. It's $500,000 from CDBG funds, and then from the water revenue account to cover the construction administration. Phase 3, we went ahead and put that out for bid at the same time, hoping that we would get better bids. The scope was larger for that, so thus it came in at a higher amount, around $645,000. So we're recommending to not proceed with that because we will need additional $250,000 for construction administration and the overage over the grant amount. We're asking the contractor to hold their bid for 60 days to see if we have any other grant funds that we may use for this. And then we'll have a Public Works Committee to talk through that if we have any different details on Phase 3. So we're just asking for approval for Phase 2 at this time, and then Phase 3. So, any questions?
Alderman Moon.
Did we reduce the scope of Phase 2?
We did.
Okay.
We did. That's how we got the bids
That's how
down.
we got it
and
down.
it reduced the scope, and then Central Subsurface didn't bid the first time, so it came in a little less than expected.
Anyone else? Entertain a motion to award the contract to Central Subsurface in the amount of $502,481.
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded to award. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
A. Carper,
Aye.
Brown Edwards,
Aye.
Moon,
Aye.
Wayland,
Aye.
Vajezzi,
Aye.
all ayes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Item number 3, consideration of an ordinance to amend Chapter 16, Section 1, 55, and 56, the Municipal Code of the City of Macomb, pertaining to prohibited sale, distribution, use, and purchase of tobacco products by minors. Ms. Scalf.
Thank you. This is an ordinance that would amend portions of Chapter 16 pertaining to the sale and distribution of tobacco products to minors. We are adding definitions pertaining to e-cigarettes, alternative nicotine products, tobacco accessories, providing that the minimum age to sell those products is 16, which is consistent with state law. Adding that vending machines cannot be operated by anyone under the age of 21, and some additional restrictions regarding those. Increasing the fine for adult violators from $50 to $100, consistent with the minimum fine contained in the code. Retaining the McDonough County Teen Court possibility for offenders that are under the age of 18. And also with regard to amending section 16-56, changing the legal age to purchase from 18 to 21, and changing the fine also to 100.
Thank you. That'll stand a second reading and entertain a motion to adopt.
Make a motion to amend Chapter 16, Section 1, 55, and 56 of the Municipal Code of Macomb pertaining to the sale, distribution, and use of purchase of tobacco products to minors.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt the amended ordinance. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Brown Edwards.
Aye.
Moon.
Aye.
Wayland.
Aye.
Vajezzi.
Aye.
A. Carper.
Aye.
All ayes.
Motion carried. Thank you. There is no other unfinished business. Under new business, item number 1, consideration of an ordinance to create a Class R liquor license for Chicago Beef Factory. This will be first reading. Ms. Scalf.
Thank you. This would create a Class R liquor license for Dan Kokel doing business as Chicago Beef Factory, located at 202 West Carroll. We did conduct a public hearing, as is required. We also sent out written notice to the record owners. We have received no response from anyone, good or bad. We also did conduct the required background checks. We have not received any written protests from any of those record owners. And having conducted the hearing, this, if approved by the council, would permit the sale of alcohol at the location under a Class R liquor license.
Thank you. That'll stand as first reading. We'll have that on for discussion at next Monday's Committee of the Whole meeting. There is no other new business this evening. Under committee reports, Mr. Bannon, anything from the Complete Count Census Committee, sir?
No major updates, although we continue to meet as a Complete Count Committee, which we did today, and we have some events coming out in August that we want to target, a lot of the community, both in general, as well as students returning to primary school as well as university. We would put out to people's attention that non-response follow-up will begin August 11th across the country. So right now they're starting to conduct training exercises for enumerators. If anyone would like a part-time job, they are still hiring in McDonough County. We have about 80% hired. So there are some jobs available for people. It is $17.50 an hour. If anyone is nervous about COVID, the best way to prevent anyone from going to your residence is to fill out the census. It both helps your community, and if you're at all worried, that's the way to help everyone out, is to go ahead and fill it out right now, 2020census.gov. So that's about it. We've been meeting, and we've got more stuff coming out later in August.
Any questions for John? Alderman Carper.
What's our response rate been? Last week was like 57%.
It's still about the same. I mean, we've gone up a couple tenths of a percentage point. July, there are a lot of people on vacation. The university population isn't back in town yet, so I don't expect it to move. But even in certain quadrants, we're still only in the 70-something percentile. So no matter where you live in town, there are people in those areas that haven't filled it out yet, so we would appreciate everyone taking the time, support the community, support the roads, support the schools, support everything else that it does, and fill it out. But we're still a hair under 57%.
Can you speak to the commitment that a person, if they would be a personal enumerator, how much time that's involved? Would that be an 8-week commitment or a 6-week commitment? Do you know?
The non-response follow-up is from August 11th to October 31st.
Okay.
I'm not aware of the minimum time the Census Bureau would permit, but I would think they would want about a 10-week commitment.
Okay.
but it's very flexible in terms of hours. I think minimum 12 hours a week, but they're usually very willing to work with people in terms of their schedules, days of the week, hours of the day. So if you had another job, if you had other responsibilities, if you were a student, volunteer obligations, I think all of those are workable with that opportunity.
Great, thank you.
Alderman Vajezi.
Just a quick question. With the enumerators coming around, is the census going to send out any more mail to housing that has not responded, or are they just going to the people coming around?
I think they are sending it out to certain areas. I think within the city limits of Macomb, we should assume that there will not be a great deal of more mail. We have not been declared an area with low internet connectivity. So some of the rural areas around the region and the state have been, and those will, without a doubt, get more paper questionnaires. But the city of Macomb, in terms of the city limits, we are not in those categories. And so I would not anticipate a great deal of additional paper questionnaires mailed.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Brown Edwards.
I know that you are hoping to do events in different quadrants, but would the committee consider pairing up with We Care as far as maybe having a census event and maybe a supply drive, maybe kind of like a drive-through events in that area? Would that be something that the committee may be amendable?
I think we would absolutely be. We actually had a discussion with some members of the Complete Count Committee and the Housing Authority today. And in late August, we're probably going to have an event there in some form or fashion. And so whatever that ends up looking like, I think it's a fantastic idea to partner with We Care and anyone else, whether it's Big Brothers, Big Sisters, who has a presence in that area. I think that's a great idea.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All righty. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Any other committee reports this evening? Hearing none, automatic reports. Alderman Moon.
No report.
Thank you. Alderman Brown Edwards.
I have a few things, Your Honor. I attended the Census and NAACP event a couple of weeks ago, and I was very pleased that there were several people in the community that came out and filled out their census and also filled out their voter registrations. WIRC will be conducting their director interviews this week, and hopefully they will be choosing a director in the upcoming weeks. I wanted to thank We Care for coming. Hopefully that we'll be able to get that information out. They've been in the community for many years. I know a lot of people who've worked there, and their kids were educated there, and so I'm hoping that the community will help them get up and running here very shortly. Genesis Garden, I've been seeing messages on social media pertaining to their community gardens that they have located at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship Wigwam, First Presbyterian Church, and Mount Calvary, that those free gardens are full of fruit and vegetables, and they're hoping people will come and utilize those. It's free to the public. And lastly, I appreciate Mayor, for you and Interim President Abraham laying a wreath on the property of C.T. Vivian's family's land on the east side of town. I appreciate you all doing that. Thank you.
You are welcome. And just a point of clarification, it came in late this afternoon. The interviews for that search committee at the Regional Council have been postponed to some logistics issues there.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Alderman Carper.
No, I just want to clarify that in regard to contributions that people may want to make to the We Care Daycare Center, because of the nature of their business, they hate to say it this way, but a monetary gift is preferred over a used toy and whatnot because of the regulations that they have to follow through IDPH. Anything is appreciated, of course, but they do have a special business, so they have to buy special things.
Understand. Thank you for that clarification.
Thank you.
Alderman Vajezi.
No report, Your Honor.
Thank you. Alderman Wayland.
No report, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Scalf. No report. Thank you. Madam Clerk.
No, I just celebrated my 38th anniversary with the city of Macomb yesterday.
Thank you.
Congratulations. That was on my list of things to remind. I was going to say you were starting your 39th year of service here.
Okay.
That's the same thing. All right. Thank you. Just a reminder to the council, and we invite you to immediately after the meeting join us down in the community room, senior staff and I, and you all are welcome to view a live presentation by distinguished author Ibram Kendi on how to be an anti-racist. So we'll look to see you down there right after adjournment. And with that in mind, we'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say, excuse me, we got to do, no, we're not there. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.